So if you've been going full throttle for weeks and you're starting to feel burnt out and you're starting to feel that the energy in the gym is going down a little bit, the power is going down, the strength is going down, it's your body's way of saying, hey, I need a break. Hey guys, and welcome back to this week's episode of It's Pretty Simple, a podcast about fat loss, fitness, nutrition, and just trying to simplify your training journey, your fat loss journey, or just trying to implement fitness into your lifestyle. Sorry about my voice today. I had a really bad cold yesterday. Well, I have a bad cold right now. It hit me very hard yesterday, and I legit could not even get out of bed. Had a horrible headache, sore throat, and now I'm all stuffy, so excuse the voice. So let's jump into this week's episode. Last week we talked about progressive overload, so it's the cornerstone for making your gains in the gym. So we talked about how you can make sure you are increasing muscle and the technique that I use to do it. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, do make sure to check it out. I'm going to put the link on the top right here. Today we're going to be following up with a topic that goes hand in hand with progressive overload. So today we're going to dive into deloading. So deloading, it's a key strategy to ensure that you keep progressing without burning out. Okay, because a lot of the time people tend to just train and they don't think about the deload part of it. What is deloading? Deloading is basically when you're intentionally trying to reduce the intensity and the volume of your workouts for a short period of time to let your body recover. It's not about skipping your workouts altogether, it's just about doing it a bit smarter, not harder. So if you've been going full throttle for weeks and you're starting to feel burnt out and you're starting to feel that the energy in the gym is going down a little bit, the power is going down, the strength is going down, it's your body's way of saying, hey, I need a break. So for me, I noticed that if I am consistent, like going very hard at all my training for about 6 to 8 weeks, I start to feel super exhausted. One, I get super demotivated, so mentally I'm exhausted, and then also physically. So taking a couple of lighter days or even a week to deload does help me bounce back and feel even stronger. And sometimes I notice that I also get a bit lean during that time, which is, I don't know why, but it's probably not for everyone, but it's a bonus. I guess it's the recovery process. So I'm recovering more and it makes a difference. So why does deloading matter? So when you train, we're putting stress on our body, we're putting stress on our muscles, we're putting stress on our joints, and you're also putting stress onto your central nervous system. So this stress, it is something that's actually necessary to get stronger and fitter. So it's not necessarily bad, but without adequate recovery, it can lead to overtraining and burnout, both mentally and physically. Overtraining, it doesn't just stall your progress, it can also cause you fatigue. You can be irritable with the people around you, and the worst part is you can also end up having injuries. So there's a lot of studies that show that prolonged periods of intense training without any breaks can disrupt your hormone levels, including your cortisol and testosterone, which are both crucial for your recovery and muscle growth. And yes, as women, we do have a little bit of testosterone, but not enough to go bulky, as I mentioned in the last episode. There was another study that was conducted on some athletes who incorporated planned deload weeks, and they avoided any performance decline, but they also improved their recovery markers. So they had lower levels of muscle soreness and reduced fatigue. So think of deloading as a way to work with your body, not against it. So now the question is, do you need a deload? Here's the thing, not everyone needs to plan a deload. If you are newer to fitness or you're just working out to stay healthy, your body is probably recovering quickly in between your sessions anyway. So that means if you're doing 3 sessions a week, 4 sessions a week, you probably do not really need a deload. And let's be real, life gives us unplanned breaks sometimes. Like for me now, I've got now 2 days I'm going to be taking off because I'm sick. Sometimes you're traveling, so you're going to reduce your workout timing. Sometimes you get busy with something. So all these things anyway come in as unintentional deloads. But if you are consistently lifting heavier, consistently training with intensity, a planned deload sometimes becomes a game changer. So I have done planned deloads in the past when I know I've been consistent, and it's really been a great thing to do. But right now, usually for me, I don't really do any deloads because I'm traveling constantly, things keep changing, my schedule changes, my training changes, and so as of right now I don't need any, but I have used it in the past, and in doing so I have seen the benefits that will give. So what are the benefits from doing a deload week? It helps you avoid overtraining, you're going to prevent any injuries, and it's going to make sure that you are progressing over the long term. Because if we're constantly putting stress on the muscle over and over again, it's going to have no room to actually build. And what we need is for your muscles to build. So I usually recommend, if you are consistent, that you should do a deload week every 6 weeks. Obviously, if you are training to your max and really pushing yourself. So let's talk about how to deload. Deloading does not mean you just sit on the couch all week unless you actually need it, and that is usually if you're sick. But here are a few ways that you can approach it. So what we want to do is reduce the weight that you are lifting. So this is usually what I do. I go down to using like 50 to 65% of my usual weights. Or do fewer sets or reps per exercise. The cutting down on how much weight you're using usually is the best way. Of course, you can take longer rest periods during sets, but I always find the best way to do it is kind of stick to the same workout, just take the weights down to 50 to 65% of your 1 rep max usually. Another thing you can do is train less days. You can skip high intensity work like sprints or max lifts. Like for example, if you're used to doing 4 sets of squats at 85% of your max during your deload week, you're going to do maybe 3 sets at 60% of your max. So the idea of this is to reduce the overall workload on your body without actually losing the habit of training. Like I said, sometimes you get default deload week, you get sick, you get busy, like to the point where you really cannot even fit in a single session, or if you can, you have to completely go off your program and do something short. Let's say you're traveling, you want to train with bands, that all that comes down as deloading. So again, this is only if you are super consistent with your training over a long period of time that you do need to deload. So let's say 6 weeks of just going, yes, you need a deload week. Deload week, it is a perfect time for you to actually focus on other aspects of recovery. So you want to make sure that during this time you're still sticking to your nutrition. Like, don't change anything there. Keep drinking water and get good sleep. You can also start to incorporate more, if you have more time at the gym, you can also start to incorporate more foam rolling, stretching, do some more mobility, go get your massages, like really take this time to help your body recover. All these little things are going to make a big difference on how your body feels and how you're going to perform once you actually get back to full training, and you're going to feel so much better. Again, guys, this is if you've been going consistently hard non-stop for a while. Okay, it does not give you a free pass to just neglect your good habits. You keep these things going, and it's a good time for you to, again, double down on good nutrition and focus on recovery. Get those 8 to 9 hours of sleep. On that note, I've really been enjoying not keeping an alarm on recently, and it's been awesome. I've been letting my body sleep the amount that it needs to, and I've been waking up feeling so refreshed. I'm getting about 10 hours of sleep, and it's been amazing. I understand that not everybody can do that unless you work remotely or work for yourself, but I realized that every time I put in an alarm, you're waking up, you're not fully slept through, and now I've realized going to bed at the same time, my body's automatically waking up at the same time every single day. So just wanted to throw that in there. But yeah, basically it's a good time for you to focus on all your recovery practices. If you've been training hard for 6 to 8 weeks and you start feeling tired, you start feeling bored, you start feeling not motivated, or you start to notice that your performance is dropping, or you're sleeping a lot more than usual, it's probably time for you to deload. You are tired. Some people need a whole week, while others just go easier for a few days. So it can be anywhere from 4 days to 7 days. Just make sure that you listen to your body. I've had clients who push themselves for weeks without realizing that they're on the brink of a burnout. And once they start incorporating deload weeks, they are amazed at how much better they feel and how much faster they also progress. So let's jump into the science behind it. So why does deloading work? Let's break it down, right? So we've got muscle repair. So when we train, we're creating these tiny little tears in our muscle fibers, and recovery is when these tears heal. So think about every bicep curl. I love bicep curls. You're tearing a little bit with every rep, and then they heal during recovery, which makes them stronger and bigger. Deloading also gives your body the time it needs to fully repair. So deloading along with quality sleep is the best thing. Okay, number 2 is hormonal balance. So when we are doing high intensity training, we spike our cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone. While we do need a little bit of cortisol for good performance, too much can hinder your recovery and it can also break down your muscles. So deloading helps bring these levels back to normal. Number 3 is your central nervous system recovery. So central nervous system takes a huge beating during these intense trainings. Again, it is something that is important, but you need to give your central nervous system time to reset. Otherwise, this is where the mental burnout feeling really starts to happen. You start to feel crushed. So when you deload, it gives it a chance to reset, and you're going to start to feel more refreshed instead of feeling drained. So keep it simple. Your deload does not need to be complicated. Like I said, I think the best way to do it is reduce the volume of sets and bring your the weights down to 50 to 65%. I remember during this time, you might feel like, oh, I know I can do more than this. It doesn't feel as heavy, but that's the entire purpose of a deload week. You should not feel completely beaten up after the workout. You should not feel that you pushed yourself to your max, because it is a time for you to just move, but gently. So there shouldn't be that much strain on your body. So it's not going to feel like you're doing that much, but it is a very important part of the whole equation of you actually wanting to build muscle, to actually stay strong, stay fit, and continue being on this journey. Again, this is all part of a bigger picture of staying consistent and making fitness a lifestyle. So if you have never tried deloading before, give it a shot and see how you feel. And if you already do use deload weeks, let me know how you structure yours. I always like to see different ways that people do things. I'd love to hear from you guys, so you can reach out in the comments. Let's get a conversation going of what your deloads are like. And also, guys, just before we sign off, I would like to point out that we've got a ton of people watching and listening but are not subscribed, and I would really appreciate that if you liked any of these episodes that I put out, just hit a subscribe or follow. It really helps. Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in to It's Pretty Simple. Let's keep things simple, sustainable, and effective. I'll see you next week.